Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
First question is, how did you find your job and what made you choose it?
Okay, so I'm going to be dating myself. Um, Today is actually my 30th anniversary with performance racing industry.
Ooh,
So, just over 30 years ago, I was looking through the classified section of the Orange County Register newspaper when they used to put job announcements and openings in it. And I was flipping through it and saw a position for an assistant editor at a racing magazine. And I thought, well, that sounds fun. So I went ahead and applied for it. I met with John Kilroy, who is the editor at the time, and he was telling me about how fun it was to work there. And they had just gotten back from having a race day where the sales team had met their sales goals for the previous year. And as a result, the owner of the company, Steve Lewis, treated the entire company, which was about 20 to 25 people at that point in time, and took them out to a racetrack and they had a race day for the day. And as soon as I heard that, I'm in. I want this job. And thankfully I got it.
that's very interesting. What is your career and what do you do?
So I am the executive editor of PRI Magazine, and I started as assistant editor, got promoted to associate editor, got promoted to managing editor, and then my current role, executive editor. And what I do is I determine the story topics for the magazine, for what we include in we used to have 12 issues down to nine. Now we're at four issues. So we have four quarterly issues there. And then once I determine the story topics that we're going to run, the sources that we're going to include, I choose the photos and for the fun part, I get to attend various races and the PRI show in Indianapolis.
Sounds very interesting. All right, what is the favorite thing about your job?
The favorite thing is the industry. Our industry can't be beat. It's so much fun. The people are so devoted to it and they're so passionate about it. And when you experience that win, there's nothing like it.
What is the performance racing industry?
So, performance racing industry is the name of the company that was started in 1986 by Steve Lewis, and he opened it because he had a race team in the USAC National Midget Series, and he saw the need for a trade show and a magazine strictly for the racing industry. He had already started Action Sports, which was a trade show and magazine for the surf industry, and saw that there was a need for racing. It hadn't been filled yet, so he went ahead and he started that. Um, our company was sold to SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Market Association, back in 2013, I believe, and we've been a part of SEMA ever since.
Do you guys get invited to like the SEMA show and stuff?
We do. I had been attending the SEMA show before SEMA had purchased PRI because SEMA does have the racing and performance section of their show. So I would go to it, and the SEMA show was always a beautiful show and very well done. And it's been interesting since they acquired PRI is that we've learned some things about how to make our show and our magazine better as a result of SEMA and vice versa.
Cool. How did you get into the industry?
Um, It's actually pretty funny. I majored in environmental studies with a focus on air quality management at Cal State San Bernardino. And when I graduated in 1993, I had an internship at the Air District up in Victorville. Well, they were transitioning from being um, owned by the county to starting uh, their own operation. And while I was interning there, they wanted to hire me on, but they said, let's wait until July 1st when we begin our own operation and have our own board of directors, and then that way you won't have to transfer over from being a county employee to the new one. Sure, not a problem. I was young. I didn't think anything of it. Well, July 1st comes around. They immediately put on a hiring freeze and and there went my job. So at that time, a lot of different government agencies were cutting back. So other ones were putting on hiring freezes. They were laying people off. So I was having a very difficult time just overall trying to find a job. So I worked a lot of administrative jobs and temp jobs just to get me through. And then after a year and a half, I finally got hired on at Entrepreneur Media Group as a part-time research assistant. I was there for several months and I got promoted to becoming a full-time writer of business manuals. So I was an entrepreneur for a year and a half before I started with PRI, and I've been with PRI ever since.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's interesting how you can prepare for one thing and life sends you a huge curveball and you just gotta go with it.
hmm What is it like being the executive editor of PRI?
There's a lot of writing, proofreading, reading every day with the job. So if somebody wanted to get involved in publishing, those are three things that they have to do well. They have to have very strong proofreading skills and be an excellent writer as well.
What does your day-to-day look like when you work?
That changes because I'm down to four issues instead of the 12 from like 3 years ago. Um, it changes where some weeks I will be researching story topics, coming up with sources to include for the articles. I have to assign those articles to my team of freelance writers. I have to find photos to accompany that. I have to make sure that they get paid, so I get their invoices, get those sent to our accounting department. Um, Another role that I've taken on just recently is now I'm also the PRI Education Director, where we have seminars that are designed to educate the racing industry, and which we put on at our PRI show in December in Indianapolis. Since this is a brand new role, I'm expanding it in I have the ability to be creative here and to do what I want to see this program flourish. So
Mhm.
I am going to start a webinar series with the PRI education banner over that starting in August. And the first seminar will be about sponsorship and what different race teams and companies need to focus on to get ready for 2027.
Wow, that's cool. What do you guys do at your PRI show?
So the PRI show is a trade show where the companies that exhibit are typically manufacturers of race parts in maybe shop machinery, fabricating equipment.
Mhm.
They can be service providers, and then the people walking around the show who are buying, they are racing retailers, engine builders, race car builders, warehouse distributors, professional race team members. We have over 1,000 exhibitors who are at the show. We fill up the entire Indiana Convention Center and Lucas Oil Stadium.
Wow. Do you guys host it every year?
We do. Yep, every December. And it's interesting because people who are not in the industry often ask, why do you want to go to Indianapolis for a trade show in December? But that point is that the racing season used to be March through October. Now, because racing is much more popular than, say, 30 years ago when I started, that season has expanded, but December is still typically the off season where people are buying parts for the next racing season, where they're working on building their cars and just planning for the upcoming season.
Hmm. Okay. Last question. What is something you would tell young girls interested in joining the automotive industry?
Hmm. I'm all for it. I think it's great. The opportunities are plentiful. What's really cool about the racing industry
Mhm.
is that a young woman who is fascinated by it or like, I want to be involved, there's so many opportunities. It can be a public relations role. It can be an engineer. It can be, and an engineer can be designing race parts, working on a race team, being part of data acquisition and gathering all the information. But then there's also roles like, let's say a young woman really enjoys numbers and accounting and math. Race teams need accountants.
Mhm.
Racing companies need accountants. So if there's a particular type of role that she's interested in, chances are pretty good that she's going to find something where she could land within the motorsports industry. There are wonderful opportunities out there, so many options. And just in the last few years that are really promoting young women getting involved in motorsports. For example, Women in Motorsports North America is an organization that holds events. We have a chapter here in Southern California. I'm the chapter president. We have another location in Monterey. There's a chapter in Charlotte, Detroit, Indianapolis, and they're all about helping promote women in motorsports, connecting them, getting them involved. For example, WIMNA just had its first online career fair yesterday where like Arrow McLaren participated, Bosch, other different teams and companies in motorsports just to get the word out that they have positions open and young women are definitely encouraged to apply.
Yeah, they do have a lot of options now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now's a great time to be a young woman who wants to be in racing.
Hmm.
Yep, there's so many options beyond just a driver.
Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome, Madeline.